Hey there, welcome to another episode of Talking WWE. Try saying those words 5 times fast. It's a mouthful. Anyway, this is going to be interesting. As you can see, this is a review of WrestleMania 33. Now, this will also be the final modern recent pay-per-view review I'm going to do of any WWE pay-per-views. This is the last one. Uh, Part of the reason why is because I made a deal. I pretty much told myself if Roman Reigns goes over Taker clean at the end of this pay-per-view, that I was done. So, I'm a man of my word, so I'm done. But it's not just because of that, because as the days have gone by, I've thought about it more, and Taker losing isn't really the problem. It's just the product as a whole, to me personally, hasn't improved enough to really warrant my attention anymore. Which is really too bad. Although, despite that, I have to admit, this was an okay pay-per-view. This is one of the better WrestleManias I've seen in a while. It had some great WrestleMania moments, and there were some really fun matches. But with my schedule already extremely full with all these other franchises and other movie reviews that I want to do, and also with my upcoming school that I'm going to be doing in the fall, I don't really have the time to be watching 4 5 hour long WWE pay-per-views, and I don't review them that much anyway. So, and it seems like a lot of people don't really watch these videos anyway. And for those of you who do, that's cool. I was kind of thinking about not doing this until a subscriber of mine actually commented and sent me a message and said, "When are you doing the new one? I can't wait." And I was like, "Okay, all right, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it for the few people that enjoy these videos." I enjoy them too. I mean, I do enjoy branching out, doing something different, and not reviewing a movie. Because, to be honest, I can get kind of old. But I got some other projects that I'm planning on doing that aren't movie reviews. So that's also going to take up my time. So, but anyway, let's get to the actual review, shall we? Enough blabbing. WrestleMania 33 is a 7 hour long show if you include the pre-show. And I did watch the pre-show as well. At least I watched the matches on the pre-show. I didn't watch all the other bullshit. And when I watched the pay-per-view itself, I watched the matches. And some of them I fast forwarded through the entrances and I didn't watch the other stuff because honestly, I'm here for the matches. I'm not here for the announcing team commenting on the previous match. I'm not here for the commercials. I'm not here for the musical guests. I'm not here for any of that shit. I'm here for the matches. I'm here for the wrestling. Um, Before I actually talk about the pay-per-view, I want to say this. The set for this Mania was really impressive. It was a great set. It really was. It was a wonderful set. I love the way that they used the LEDs and everything on the entrance ramp. It was a great set, and definitely one of the better sets I've seen in WrestleMania recently. Now, the pre-show, it started out with, after 30 minutes of just Shawn Michaels really not adding much to a roundtable discussion with some of the other people working for the company, we have the first match, official match of the pay-per-view on the pre-show. Neville, the king of the cruiserweights, versus Austin Aries. Now, I actually am glad that WWE has acquired and is deciding to do more cruiserweight matches. I think that's great. And I thought this match was really good. This is one of my favorite matches of the entire pay per view. The two of them, they worked well with each other. There were some nice spots that looked like they really did hurt and had real impact. and they're both really talented, very athletic uh, wrestlers, and it was a real joy to see them go at it. So there was some high flying moves. There was some nice ground and pound stuff. There was some, not a lot of ground and pound stuff, but it's they're cruiserweights, so they're more it's more for the high flying sort of aspect of it. And I honestly thought this match should have been on the main show, to be perfectly honest, because there were a couple other matches that were on the main pay per view that I thought were honestly kind of shitty. I know, not kind of shitty. I honestly thought they were shitty. But that's where my praise ends for the pre-show, because the second match is the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale, which might as well be the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale with cheese. Because that's honestly, this Battle Royale is so cheesy, it's so corny, it's so stale, it's so lame, it doesn't do anything. It kind of feels to me kind of like a slap in the face to Andre the Giant, because it doesn't do anything for anybody who wins it. It's a completely pointless Battle Royale that's just there on the pre-show. It's like, it's the Jobbers Battle Royale. Woo! Yay! And there's some people that were there in the ring that I'm just like, man, I mean, Luke Harper, why is he there? Why is he in the Jobber Battle Royale? Why isn't he in the match with Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt in a triple threat match? That would have been nice. No, instead he's in this. Dolph Ziggler is now demoted to being in the Jobber Battle Royale. And you have all this other stuff. Some other wrestlers that I think, I mean, Sami Zayn, he had to fight to be able to get in the Jobber Battle Royale, and he doesn't even win it. So, and who wins it? Mojo fucking Rawley. Yeah, Mojo. Mojo Jojo. He wins the Andre the Giant Battle Royale trophy, and with an assist by Rob Gronkowski of the New England Patriots, which I hated because I hate the Patriots. I see enough of the fucking Patriots as it is. I don't want to see Gronk in a wrestling ring. I had no desire to see Gronkowski tackle Jinder Mahal. I mean, and what the fuck was Jinder Mahal doing in the final three to begin with? And some guy named Killian, who's like this really overweight fat guy, who I guess was in NXT, and he's got these hairy man nipples. I was just like, that's like he was wearing what looks like a barbarian's loincloth or something. Like he's like a Viking who's drank too much mead and gorged on way too many turkey legs. What the hell? Is this the warlord reincarnated? But anyway, Mojo wins by eliminating Jinder Mahal. Yeah, what we shall really see if this really elevates his career at all. I doubt it. And I won't see anyway because I'm done with this product. Because it's not satisfying to me anymore. The last match on the pre-show was Dean Ambrose, the Lunatic Fringe, versus Baron Corbin, the Lone Wolf. And for some reason, Dean wins. I like Dean, but he's not a very good intercontinental champion. He's actually making me miss the Miz, and I hate the Miz, so that's saying a lot. He's a very boring intercontinental champ. It's really sad to me that the intercontinental title is being fought for on the pre-show. That just shows you how far this title has fallen in recent years. And the match itself sucked. There was no flow to it. It was slow. The two of them didn't really seem like they had any chemistry with one another. And then eventually it ended, and Ambrose hit the dirty deeds, and that's it. It wasn't anything. It was just a really bad match. The next match, the first match on the main pay-per-view, was a real shocker. It really was probably one of the biggest surprises of the night for me, other than some of the surprise returns. I was not expecting this match to be as good as it was. I was dreading this match because I'm like, oh man, Shane McMahon, Shane O'Mac, I love you, man, but you can't wrestle. You're old. The match you had with the Undertaker was awful, and AJ Styles is being demoted to wrestling with Shane McMahon. AJ deserves better, and I still feel that AJ deserved better. I still feel that AJ should have held the title and fought for it and retained it at Mania this year. I really do feel that way. Maybe he could have fought Randy Orton and beat him. I think that would have been. But the thing is, that's a different title. No, actually, they're the same title. So I really, honestly would have. I really would have preferred AJ to retain as the champ. He was single-handedly, in my opinion, the best thing about WWE this year and parts of last year. AJ Styles was phenomenal. And he was phenomenal in this match too. He was great. And so was Shane. Shane blew me away. He attempted a shooting star press. He did the whole thing where he leaped off the top rope onto the table, announcer table. Uh, he showed actual wrestling ability, which was stunning, and he actually made it look believable. Every now and then he still had his weak punches, which kind of took me out of it. I mean, I know it's fake, but Shane McMahon does a really awful job with his punches. Yeah, it's fake, but we don't need the illusion to be ruined anymore with these really weak punches. Um, but yeah, it was a fun match. I mean, AJ tried to do the coast to coast, and Shane hit him with a trash can. Then Shane turns the tables and does this signature move on AJ. AJ, of course, wins the match like he should have, and beats Shane McMahon with the phenomenal forearm, gets the pin, and then it ends a pretty fun, exciting match. I mean, there was a nice moment where the two of them they exchanged reversals of finishers. Shane showed his MMA talent, his skills that he had learned from his MMA training. Overall, yeah, it was definitely one of my favorite matches of the night, and one of the there were actually quite a few matches in this pay-per-view that I liked. And so that's the thing. That's what's so frustrating about this pay-per-view is yes, it was one of the better WrestleManias in recent years, but the way it ended and everything and just I don't trust the company. I don't trust the product. I personally feel Vince is honestly out of touch and he really needs to quit and put somebody else in charge and in terms of the booking and all of that. And consistently, the product is not up to par. It's not up to snuff. Consistently, the product just isn't there for me. So I don't want to keep, getting involved and watching and really, getting, so to speak, excited for a product that I think is kind of inferior. And even when it does turn out a good pay per view, it's not really a great pay per view. This isn't a great pay per view to me. It's just a great pay per view in comparison to the last two WrestleManias that I've seen, which sucked. So anyway, the next match after this was after the AJ Styles and Shane McMahon match was Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho for the United States title, and these two had a great feud building going up to this match. And honestly, this match was okay, but it wasn't great. And that was a bit disappointing. I loved Chris Jericho's entrance. He came out with a light up scarf and a giant list of Jericho. And for a match that had all this heat, had all this build up, build off, had all this build up. It might as well be a build off because there's no build. It just the build up is off in this match. The intensity didn't feel like it was there. It didn't feel like the two of them really put out all the stops. It felt like a match that I would see on Raw or SmackDown. So it was just one of those. It was all right. The two of them did their thing. I thought the ending was weird, where KO Kevin Owens, he ends up taking Chris Jericho and he does a power bomb onto the apron, and then rolls Jericho in the ring and gets the pin. He doesn't do the pop up power bomb for the pin to win the title, which I thought was strange. And I honestly felt thought the match was going to go on longer after the power bomb onto the apron, but that's not what happened. Um, I do remember. I think this is the match where I think I heard Jericho or somebody like say "son of a bitch," which I thought was kind of in a PG era. "Son of a bitch" is kind of woo, holy shit. But I really think this match should have been like no holds barred or something, just something extra to it for all of this, the friendship, the all of that being broken, and then this match is just like, it wasn't terrible, but it was just there. It was just there. The next match after this was the Fatal 4-Way Elimination match for the WWE Raw Women's Championship. This wasn't as good as the triple threat match from the previous year, which previous year's pay-per-view, which to me was one of the few truly great matches from that pay-per-view for me personally. This just felt kind of short. It was like 12 minutes, and it started out strong with Nia Jax just absolutely being a beast and just dominating everybody, and in such a dominant fashion that it honestly made me want to see her as the champ. I was rooting for her, and then the other three girls, they ganged up on her, pinned her, and then that was it. But Nia had her moment though, and showed her physical dominance over these other female wrestlers. And don't get me wrong, the other female wrestlers are extremely talented, but they don't have the presence that Nia Jax does. Nia Jax has the kind of presence for this women's wrestling division that I haven't seen since somebody like Awesome Kong or Beth Phoenix or China. And I really do hope she gets the title sometime soon. I really do not, and it has like a long run with it, and just toppling all these other women wrestlers who try to come up to her, because Bailey's a nice story and all, and she's very popular. But for me personally, I don't know. Nia Jax just has that size and that strength, and it's something that she's a big woman, but she's also agile and she can do a lot. I think it really would be nice to see her as champ sometime, instead of just being this occasional uh, kind of foil for some of these main women on the roster. I think she should go to SmackDown, to be honest. That way, she could really have a chance to shine. On Raw, she has too much competition with Charlotte, Becky, Sasha. Not Becky, I mean Sasha, Charlotte, Sasha Banks, and Bailey. So Nia gets eliminated first, and then Bailey, Charlotte, and Sasha Banks, they start fighting each other. Charlotte actually leaves the ring and has Sasha and Bailey fight each other. Sasha actually gets pinned, so that was another reason why this is disappointing. I thought this was building up to a potential feud between Sasha Banks and Bailey, a heel turn for Sasha. That's not what happens here, so it's just very just bland and just match. Because although there were some impressive spots, Charlotte doing her moonsault over, off the top rope onto the ground below, onto the women who were there waiting for her, was impressive. It always is. She's amazing. She's an amazing athlete. And but yeah, Sasha didn't seem like she really was given that much to do. Like, she had a little bit of a scuffle with Bailey and then with Charlotte, and then she ended up getting pinned by Charlotte, and then Charlotte and Bailey fought, and Bailey ended up getting the pin and the win and retaining her title by hitting Charlotte with an elbow drop off the top rope. So it was her homage, her tribute, so to speak, to her idol, Macho Man. Ooh yeah, snap into a Slim Jim. Yeah, so it was it was nice to see her do her little tribute to her idol, Randy Macho Man Savage. Uh, the Macho Man Randy Savage. But it was just there. It was just like a hit match. Not much to it. I mean, there were some good spots here and there. Nia Jax was dominating early, but yeah, it felt like another sort of Raw main event or second to main event match. The next match, though, was by far my favorite match of the night. This was a lot of fun. It was short, but it was sweet. I'm glad it wasn't too long. It didn't need to be. This was the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Ladder match for the WWE Raw Tag Team Championship. Now, this wasn't originally a Fatal 4-Way. It was a triple threat with the teams of The Club, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson versus Cesaro and Sheamus, and Enzo Amore and Big Cass. And that was supposed to be the match. But the hosts of Mania, the New Day, they came in and they announced to the surprise of probably not anybody in the audience, because they were probably already told that they were going to return, and it was rumored that they would return anyway. But I cannot lie to you guys and tell you that I did not mark out hard for this return, because I did. I was grinning from ear to ear. I was cheering. I was so happy. I was so elated, and the surprise return was the Hardy Boys. And you know me, I'm a big fan of the Hardy Boys. I'm a huge fan of Jeff Hardy. So it was great to see him again in WWE, and his brother Matt. And they couldn't use the broken gimmick because they can't use it because TNA still technically owns it. But Matt still and Jeff still made it work. The crowd was super over. They were chanting delete, 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 and it was great. Matt and Jeff come in, they dominate the first half of the match, they get their spots in, then they kind of just took it easy. I mean, think about it. I mean, they had just done, I think, a ladder match or some other match on Saturday before they came in and wrestled in the tag team ladder match at WrestleMania. So the other competitors, they get their spots in. They're trying to, get their chances at grabbing the titles. But ultimately, it's the Hardy Boys who are victorious. Uh, Matt ends up doing a twist of fate, I think off the top of a ladder. It was a pretty impressive one. And then Jeff one-ups him by getting on top of this giant ladder it was just huge. In typical Jeff Hardy fashion, just caution to the fucking wind. He hits a swanton bomb off the top of this ladder onto one of the other wrestlers who's laying there on another ladder, and the Hardys get the pin, and that they win the titles. So that was cool. I think them coming back is actually going to benefit the tag team division immensely. It was in desperate need of a shakeup, somebody to make people have a reason to actually watch a tag team title match. And so, even though I probably won't be watching any more of WWE, I do want to wish Jeff and Matt, I want to wish them the best. I hope this isn't a really short title run. I think they deserve a little bit of a longer one for all that they've done for the company, and they're definitely the most over tag team on the roster. So I really don't see a reason to have them drop it to Cesaro and Sheamus at the next pay-per-view, or drop it to Enzo and Cass later until Enzo and Cass are ready. And I don't even know if they're ready. But if there is a team that the Hardy Boys can drop it to, I think it would be Enzo and Cass, because they're the closest team to me that's over. The New Day is old. I don't think anybody really wants to see them have the titles again for a long time. So I think it's good. I think it's a good thing. And normally I'm like, oh, old timers, take a spotlight from the young guys. But the Hardy Boys coming back was a really nice shot in the arm for WWE and for the tag team division. But can't be all smiles. It can't be all fun and games because the next match is one of the worst matches on the card. The extremely forgettable uh, mixed tag team match featuring Nikki Bella and John Cena versus Maurice and The Miz in what I like to call the Total Divas match because that's really what it was. It was a match that was pretty much made so the Total Divas reality show can be there at WrestleMania, shoot some footage, and so John Cena can have his moment and propose to Nikki Bella at WrestleMania, which honestly I thought was absolutely, it was just, it was selfish, and it honestly made me lose whatever last bit of respect I had for John Cena. I mean, it's all about him. I mean, what a way to make the pay-per-view all about you. For fuck's sake, John. Jeez. I mean, it made my stomach turn seeing him macking, smacking lips with Nikki in the middle of the ring. Jesus fucking Christ, man. I know there were some other fans in the audience that also one of the guys he proposed to his girlfriend in the audience and she accepted around the same time. But regardless, I don't like that. It just I really honestly keep that between closed doors or behind closed doors. I don't want to see you propose to Nikki in the middle of the ring after a shitty match. I really don't. It seemed like this match was just an excuse so John Cena can make it all about him, and now all about him and Nikki, and all about their wedding, and so we can have more Total Divas bullshit. So yeah, that match was flat out fucking atrocious. It was awful. I don't even think Maurice did that much at all. The flow of it was really stagnant. It was just mostly the Miz beating on John Cena early on, and then Cena came back and then started getting the upper hand, and then Cena and Nikki both hit their finishers and pinned Maurice and the Miz. And technically, John Cena took out a shovel and buried the Miz. Again, the Miz was starting to have a little bit of a career resurgence. I still don't think he's that great. I still don't like him, but I have to admit, in retrospect, his run with the Intercontinental title was definitely better than Dean Ambrose's, and he actually was doing all right. He was doing a good job playing the heel. And here he actually was starting to get a good rub, and then Sheena comes in and not only buries him with a shovel, but also steps over his corpse and basically steals all of the spotlight and makes it all about him, centers it all about him. He even had his own entrance. Like the other two, Maurice and The Miz, they came out together. Cena comes out with his own entrance, and then Nikki comes out. I mean, what a selfish fucking prick. I mean, wow. It was unreal. It was so surreal watching this. We were just like, really, John? You had to do that? Maybe it was Nikki's idea. I don't know whose idea it was, but what kind of what kind of self-centered, narcissistic individual do you have to be to propose at WrestleMania? I understand that there was the stuff with Macho Man and Elizabeth, but that actually worked. That was sweet. That was handled well. That didn't feel like a gimmick to me. This felt like totally 100% a gimmick and an excuse for Total Divas and their camera crew to be in the stadium. Thankfully, though, there was another match after this that actually was actually quite good. And it was another surprising match for me. I thought this match was going to suck, but I actually liked it. This is the match between Seth Rollins and Triple H, the unsanctioned match. because Seth Rollins, his knee was so fucked up that he had to sign a contract that was the match was unsanctioned, so that anything that happened to him, any damage that Triple H did to him, the company could not be liable for. Triple H comes out. His entrance in this is pretty goofy. The string of Triple H's goofy entrances at WrestleMania continues. He had the one where he was coming out like he's the Terminator, and then the other one where he thinks he's fucking Conan, and then this one he comes out. This might be the silliest one of all because he comes out on a three-wheeler, and it's supposed to be badass because there's always like police motorcycles that are in front of him with their sirens on, and his wife is dressed in leather, and the wind's blowing in her hair. And he's supposed to be a badass, but I'm just looking at it. And I'm like, it's a fucking tricycle. You're driving a trike. It's a three-wheeler. That's not badass. What? I mean, you might as well have came out to the ring on a fucking big wheel. I mean, it was just ridiculous. Seth comes out. His entrance is equally over the top. He comes out and he's got like a torch and like he puts it on the ground and he's looking like he's an angel or something. He did CrossFit Jesus. He really did look like CrossFit Jesus in this one, in this entrance. I do like how he puts the torch down though, and the entire ramp lights up. So the match starts out with Seth actually getting in some surprisingly good offense with his bad knee, but then Triple H does his thing. He's the game. He's the cerebral assassin. So he basically starts focusing on and attacking the knee. And if Seth's knee was really not hurt, and this is all work, Seth deserves an Oscar because his performance in this match was great. I really did buy that this knee was not sound. I bought that he was in pain with everything and every single spot and every single punch and blow and chair shot and everything that Triple H did to that knee. I bought that Seth was in pain. So this is a match that really honestly made me learn to respect Seth Rollins and appreciate him. And it was it was a slow paced sort of match, kind of a brawling sort of match, but Seth actually comes out victorious. He comes out victorious again, against all odds. Triple H loses. Uh, he actually gets pedigreed. He gets beat by his own move by Seth. Uh, Stephanie, she takes a bump through a table. So, yeah, we all go home happy. Nipple H gets pinned. He gets pedigreed, and Stephanie gets she gets knocked through a table. So yeah, so that was honestly the last match of the night that I thought was worth anything. Because after this, it was just a constant stream of turds. It was just one turd after another. You had Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt for the WWE Championship in a match that was 10 minutes, that was fucking awful. It was atrocious. It was pathetic. It was pathetic and atrocious. It was patrocious. It was an absolutely fucking horrendous match. The two of them really didn't seem like they really matched well in terms of their styles. The most memorable thing about it was Bray's entrance with the fireflies. It made him look like he was floating on a bunch of stars. And the sort of weird stuff that they did on the ring where they projected like images of maggots and like cockroaches and stuff. But other than that, the match was awful. It had really piss poor booking at the end because, wow, finally Bray Wyatt wins the title. He actually wins a match that's worth a damn, gets the title, and what does Vince do? This is another reason why I'm done with WWE, is because of shit like this. This shit will always happen. As long as Vince is behind things, as long as Vince is there, this shit will always happen. Bray finally gets his respect. He gets the title, and it's a really short run because he gets RKO'd out of nowhere by Randy Orton, and Randy Orton wins the title. Just because he won the Royal Rumble doesn't mean he has to win the match at WrestleMania and take the title. Nobody asked for this. Nobody wants Randy Orton to be the champion in 2017. I mean, come on now. I mean, Bray Wyatt rose from the ashes like a phoenix, and then you just doused him with fucking water or hit him with a fire extinguisher, and then you buried him alive, buried him again. And this time you poured his grave over with concrete. He's done. There's no coming back from this. WWE has effectively destroyed him. Destroyed his mystique, every last bit of it that was left. They've annihilated it. Him getting buried by Randy Orton at WrestleMania is it. Bray is done. And even if he does get the title later, I don't think it's really going to have that much of an impact because of this just terrible booking decision. Like, really? Randy Orton as the champion? So, yeah, big mistake. Huge mistake. And then we have another big mistake. This whole match was a big mistake. This whole feud was a big mistake. This none of this felt like it mattered. It didn't mean anything. It didn't mean shit because ultimately I didn't want to see another match between these two, and the stakes weren't very high regardless of the fact that Goldberg came in as the champion, as a universal champion. Doesn't fucking matter to me because how badly the feud has been booked. I mean, Brock Lesnar wins, of course. The match is like 7 minutes. Admittedly, Goldberg gets in some really impressive spears, four of them, in fact, including one through the barricade, which is one of the best OMG moments of the night. And then Brock proceeds to suplex Goldberg 10 times, and then F5s him once and wins the title. And you're not going to see Brock on Raw until May because he's a part-timer. So you go from one part-timer in Goldberg to another in Brock Lesnar. But with Goldberg, you had a part-timer who actually cared about the business, cared about a lot of the fans, at least the ones who respected and liked him, not the ones who turned on him like a dime and booed him out of the building because, wow, oh, he came back and we're cheering Goldberg. And then of course the brass, the front office is like, well, they like Goldberg. Well, maybe we should give him a little title run. And then the fans were like, no, boo, we hate that. And then it's just the fans were even awful when Goldberg was pretty much retired at on Raw this week. I saw a clip of that because I wanted to see Goldberg's retirement message because I'm a huge fan of Goldberg. I'm gonna admit it. I think he's an underrated wrestler. I don't think he's nearly as shitty as so many smarks make him out to be. Um, he's a victim of what he was asked to do. He could do all those athletic stuff in his prime. Watch his matches in Japan. Watch some of his other stuff that he's done. He was every much of an athletic freak as Brock Lesnar, and he just doesn't seem to get a lot of credit from people because, well, he's got those three moves and that's it. And I'm like, he still has an undeniable presence even at the age of 50 that honestly no one else on the roster other than Brock Lesnar has. So this is a slobber knocker of a match. They both got their finishers in. Goldberg hit Brock with spears and hit him with a jackhammer, but Brock kicked out. And then you had the Suplex City thing, and then the F5. And I'm just like, Brock being the champ doesn't really help things. He was a shitty champion before. I don't understand why fans in the audience at the most recent Monday Night Raw were like, Brock, 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 Brock. And I'm like, what the hell? Brock can't do a promo. Goldberg is better at promos than Brock Lesnar because Brock Lesnar can't even fucking talk. Lesnar, I do appreciate his intensity and his power, and the leap that he did when Goldberg was going for another spear was admittedly impressive, but his character is every bit as bland and boring as Roman Reigns or any of these other characters, or any of these other wrestlers that the Smarks are hate so much. I mean, I don't understand. Brock Lesnar to me has gotten extremely old. It's just suplex, suplex, F5, that's it. Nothing else. Maybe a jump or two. Or a submission. That's all. And in my opinion, his mystique was effectively killed when Goldberg hit him with a spear and the jackhammer at Survivor Series, made him his bitch, and then beat him again at the Royal Rumble and just threw him out of the fucking ring like it was nothing. And I'm supposed to think that this match, where Goldberg actually came out looking pretty strong, all things considered, Brock didn't really look like this unstoppable beast to me. He looked like he got lucky that, if it wasn't for his leap of faith, he would have been speared again and then probably would have lost. And he's still down 2-1 in the series against Goldberg. So what really? I mean, what was the point of this feud? Goldberg still wins it. Brock doesn't get anything out of it other than he gets a title run that he doesn't need, and that's it. I don't. Yeah, so this match sucked to me because there was no build up to it that I didn't care about the build up. I didn't care about this feud. It was one of those matches that was just like just over. Just end already. It didn't even matter who won. Whoever won, we lost. I mean, because this whole feud has been fucked up from the beginning, from the moment Goldberg came back to WWE. Then we had a bathroom break match that was like 5 minutes, so if you went to the bathroom, you would have missed it. This should have been cut for time because the fact that it wasn't really hurt the match. I think it was supposed to be longer, but it was only like 5 minutes. So it was a six-pack challenge for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship with Naomi versus Alexa Bliss, who was a champion at the time, Carmella with James Ellsworth, Mickie James, Natalya, and Becky Lynch. And Naomi defeats Alexa Bliss, and she gets it back her title that she lost when she got hurt. That's all I got to say about the match. It was 5 minutes. It was forgettable. It was garbage. It had no business being on a WrestleMania card at all. Especially if we need to cut it for time. We don't have enough time to do the full match. If you don't have enough time to do the full match with 6 women and do them justice, then you should have cut the match, not had a 5-minute match that was just shit. And then the corn on top of the shit Sunday was the final match, the main event. I will admit this, it was great to hear JR on commentary again. It was really wonderful to hear him. It was great. I haven't heard him do commentary in years. So it was really a cool thing to see. But once that happened, I pretty much knew, all right, this is probably going to be Undertaker's last match. That was confirmed when I saw Michelle McCool in the stands. And I was like, Taker's wife is here? That normally doesn't happen. This is very abnormal. And that's what it was. It was Taker's final match. And I think Taker should have retired earlier because this was just sad. It was sad to see Taker, an old, slow, out of shape Taker, being put down like Old Yeller by Roman Reigns. I personally feel Taker deserved better than that. I think he deserved to go out a different way. I think, but ultimately, I believe it was Mark's choice, and he chose Roman to pin him, and I respect that. And I don't even really feel that Taker losing is really the biggest problem here for me. It's that I just don't feel that Roman deserved it. I don't feel that Roman needs this rub. I don't feel that Roman, regardless of whether or not he was Mark's choice, really earned this. I would have really preferred someone else like Finn Balor, or, although I'm not really the biggest fan of Finn, but he could use it more than Roman. Uh, AJ Styles, it would have been great to see him go have a match with Undertaker. Or maybe even someone new, like Sami Zayn or something, or someone just completely a newcomer to the roster. Roman Reigns doesn't need this. Because all he did after he won was came into the ring at Raw after Mania to an absolutely deafening amount of boos. He just said, "This is my yard now," dropped the mic, and left. He sucks. He has no charisma. He's boring. He has a terrible personality. He can't do a promo to save his fucking life. Suffering succotash. Remember that shit? He's been booked by Vince way too much and way too high and booked to the fucking moon, and he's being shoved down our throats, and he's bland oatmeal, and I don't want this damn bland ass oatmeal in my face. Him retiring Taker is like a slap in the face to me, regardless of whether or not it was Mark's choice. Because it just shows me how badly Roman is booked, how much he's being shoved down our throats. This was the second main event that he had at WrestleMania in a row, the second main event in a row, and the second time he wins. Even if they turn him heel, I don't care. I'm done. I've had enough of Roman Reigns. He needs to stay out of the upper card and needs to fight for the United States Championship again, and or be in the mid card or get the Intercontinental title or something, or form a tag team. He is not main event material. He never was. Maybe he would be if he had some more seasoning, but he's not ready yet. He's the reincarnation of the mid 90s Diesel, except he sucks even more. And the match itself was not good. There were botches. I don't know if they were the Undertaker or Undertaker's or Roman Reigns' fault, or maybe it was both of them, but there were botches. It was boring. It was slow, and it didn't really register that much for me. The match itself wasn't emotionally powerful for me at all. It was forgettable, and it was a sad, pathetic way for Taker to end his career. What happened later, though, was the pay-per-view ended with a very poignant and heartfelt farewell to the dead man. The one, the only Undertaker. And that was really well done. I gotta give the guys in the booth and the guys, in creative, I gotta give them a huge hand for this. They really did a great job. It was a very loving send-off to the Undertaker. Very memorable one, too. After a completely unmemorable, pathetic, sad last match, Taker gets into the ring. His music is playing. He soaks in all the adulation from the crowd. Thank you, Taker. And he takes off his gloves. He takes off his jacket. Takes off his hat. And he places them all in the center of the ring. And then he walks out of the ring onto the ramp. Looks over at the crowd one more time. Just thinking about this just chokes me up because honestly, Taker to me represents the last of the remaining pillars from WWE that I cared about. Him retiring represents kind of the end. And I mean, there are still some people in WWE right now I still care about, like Jeff Hardy, but he probably won't be there that long. And knowing WWE, they're gonna fuck something up with the Hardy Boys. It's inevitable. But Taker, yeah, he represented one of the last pillars, one of the last things I could count on with this company. And he breaks kayfabe and kisses his wife, which is something that Taker has never done. He walks down the ramp. He raises his arm high. And then he's lowered down into the ground, into the abyss. And the show ends, the pay-per-view ends with Taker pretty much retiring and going down into the abyss, never to be seen again. This is officially the end. I mean, if they have Taker come back after this, this is just cheap, and that would piss me off. I hope he doesn't do something like Ric Flair did, where I'm retired. No, I'm not. Don't do that, please. So yeah, it's a very bittersweet ending to this pay-per-view. That's what makes it. That's what makes it kind of a hard pay-per-view for me to put my finger on, and that's why this video is so long, because there's just a lot to take in. And also, it was 7 hours. There's all these different matches. There's too many matches. Some of them should have been cut. And overall, I thought this pay-per-view was okay. It was an average pay-per-view. It was alright. It was a step up from the other pay-per-views, other manias from the years before. But it wasn't anything spectacular. There were some great Mania moments, like the Hardy Boys returning and winning the titles. The match between AJ and Shane McMahon. The Triple H Seth Rollins bout. The spear through the barricade by Goldberg. But there really wasn't much else. A lot of the other matches just didn't really feel like they had the prestige that they should have for a WrestleMania match. And when they were just kind of there, I mean, some of them were like, okay, they didn't feel like they had the prestige, but they were all right. They were okay. Like the match between Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. But but then the other matches are just pure garbage, which I never want to watch ever again. So, and it's shocking to me how they thought those were worthy matches for WrestleMania. But yeah, if I was going to give this Mania a rating, I would probably give it 3. 3 out of 5 stars. It's okay. It's decent. I do not think it's one of the best Manias ever. The best Mania in the past 10 or 15 years. I think that's a bit much. It was better than the years past, but it's not really a great Mania as a whole. It's alright. It's there. It's a time waster. But it's hurt a lot by the way it ends, and it will go down in history like that. And a lot of the momentum was just completely dead after the Seth Rollins Triple H match. And I do not feel the Roman Reigns Undertaker match was worthy of a main event. I really don't. Regardless of what happened with Taker retiring and going down into the abyss at the end of the pay-per-view, the match itself was not main event quality. But anyway, those are my thoughts on WrestleMania 33. I hope you guys enjoyed them, and as always, I will see you guys later. See ya.